Today on an all-new Ricki, how to forgive and how to ask for it.
I feel that you do need to release the anger that you have.
Plus, their stepfather murdered their mother. Are you here today to be able to move on and forgive and forget? On Ricki. Welcome back. We are talking with Dawn, Zach, and Chantel, a family that is struggling to forgive. And here to help us do that is psychologist and forgiveness expert, Dr. Ava Goodell. Thank you so much, Ava, for being here. Before the show, you had Chantel write a letter to her family. What is the reason for doing that?
Well, when it's hard to express in words what you want to say, it's much easier to think about it and write it down and even practice saying it. Have you practiced saying it to yourself? Yeah. And it's a way to help them understand how she was suffering and what led to her running away.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Are you ready to read this letter?
I am. I would like you both to know that the original draft was 4 pages long. It took me hours and I wrote it out by hand. Little brother, so much time has passed, too much time. It's been a year of me disappointing you. I left you, caused you to feel abandoned. For this, I am truly sorry. You're the last person I would ever want to hurt. I could not stand the person I was becoming. Worst of all, I did not share my inner struggle with anyone. By hiding what I was going through, I managed to hurt you and our mother. I was accustomed to leaving everything behind and just running. I am finally able to say that I am no longer running. Our mother raised us well. I am sure if you asked her, she would say she has 2 great kids. I just simply had additional growing left to do. I am so sorry that I hurt you, little brother, but I need you to understand that just because I need the family that I have here does not mean that I need you or mom any less. I strive to be a better person, to be less selfish. I want to be someone you could look up to. There's not a day that has gone by that I have not thought of you. I keep your picture by my bed. I've picked up the phone a million times wanting to reach out to you, only to realize that I did not know how to bridge the gap that now divides us. I should have reached out to you, but I was too afraid to lose you all over again. Please remember this. I love you with everything that I am. That has never changed. That will never change. No matter how far away from me you may be, you will always be my little brother. Please forgive me.
I'm so sorry.
Exactly what do you think of that?
And, I didn't know if I'd be able to forgive her or ever understand, but I've perhaps been too selfish and hard on her. I never thought that there could be more to it than just her up and leaving. There was a lot more to it than I had originally thought.
So do you feel the anger sort of going away?
Yeah, now I feel kind of stupid for not trying to make amends or at least contact her earlier. I feel there's a year of wasted time where this could have all been resolved.
Mom, how you doing over there?
Great.
Do you have anything you want to say?
Oh, I just love her. I love her. I just want you to be a part of my life again. I don't want another year to go by without the 2 of you. 1 year is enough. Let's not add to it. I hate addition. You know that.
Dr. Ava, I think the letter went over really well.
I do too. However, I have to tell you that an apology does have 3 elements. And one is to apologize specifically for what you did, which you did. But number 2 is to promise that you'll never do it again. And then number 3 is to ask what you can do to make up for it. And I think those 2 elements may have been in the longer version, I'm not sure.
They were.
But I think it's really important. And the only thing I really am concerned about is Zach. I feel that you do need to release the anger that you have and express it to your sister, and express it in a healthy way by saying, I. Start every sentence with I. I felt unloved when you lied to me. I felt disrespected when you just walked out on me. And I just feel you need to release that because it's all inside of you.
So it doesn't go away by the reading of a letter?
It doesn't go away. He has to release it, if not today, at some point, because otherwise you will carry it around forever. And you know what? You'll even give it to your kids. It's baggage. It's toxic.
Yeah.
So I encourage you to purge it out.
Do you think you can do that, Zach?
Yeah, I can definitely speak about what I have thought and why I'd felt that way, and I think that we will continue to speak and to communicate, resolve this fully.
And maybe counseling, family counseling can also be very helpful. This is a
Absolutely.
long process.
I'm not sure you're truly ready to forgive. You know, you're truly ready to forgive when you don't harbor any blame. There's no more blame in your heart for your sister or for yourself. And you wish them well. And you've learned lessons from this. I'm not sure you're completely... Do you feel like you're really ready to forgive completely with your heart?
I believe if I'm not there, I'm getting there. For the past few weeks, when I knew that doing this show would be a possibility, I was wondering if I had been too hard on her, if I should have not been so judgmental and angry about it. So I might not entirely be over it yet. You could be entirely right. However, I think if I'm not there, I am at least on the process to getting there.
And we can offer aftercare for you and your family so that this is something that you can work on, not just in a 1-hour show, but also, of course, in your home life and, you know, long term. But you say it's important for her to rip up this letter now?
Well, only if he accepts her forgiveness. Then she needs to rip it up in front of him, and they need to make a commitment to never bring it up again because it's a wound, but the wound is still open. Mm-hmm. And so I don't think that the ritual of ripping up the letter is going to help right now. I think that Zach needs to get rid of the blame for himself. Mm-hmm. You didn't do anything wrong, Zach. You did nothing wrong.
Well, this is a huge start. I mean, clearly you are a family that loves each other and wants to be there. So I think it's safe to say you both have made this commitment that you will not lose touch ever again.
Right.
All right. Well, we wish you the best. Honestly, thank you so much for coming here. All the best to you. Coming up, we will meet two men who say their open relationship may close the door to a possible marriage unless they find it in their hearts to forgive. Their story is coming up right after this break. Talking today about forgiveness and what it takes to apologize and actually mean it. Jason and Drew, his live-in boyfriend of 2 years, are in an open relationship and considering marriage, but trust issues and hurt feelings are coming between them. All right, Jason, how are distrust and damaged feelings coming between the two of you?
I catch him in a lot of lies, and I, from the very beginning, have always said the one thing, you can do whatever, anything can happen, but just please be honest. That's all I want.
And so you have a relationship where you love each other and you live together and you're like, you know, like it's like you're married, but you have an open relationship.
Yes.
So you both have agreed to, I don't know, how does that work? I'm for one that doesn't understand that concept, but how does it work with you guys?
I'm on the road a lot for work, so I'm almost never home. So we've come to an agreement of what we can do when I'm away.
Because men have needs. Okay.
Men
all right.
pigs.
So if it
straight or gay, they're pigs.
Okay, and both of you are okay with that system.
Yes.
But yet there are sort of lines that there are boundaries.
Yes. That we are supposed to tell each other everything.
And he hasn't been forthcoming with you?
Yes.
Can you give me a couple examples?
A few months after we had got together, there was a certain person that he had started talking to a lot, communicating with. It was someone that he kind of knew, an acquaintance from before, but that guy kind of came back into the picture, and it just kind of escalated. They never did anything. I believe him, I trust him that they didn't, but it got to a point where it almost, he had to make a decision if it was going to be this guy or me.
Okay, but again, if you have an open relationship, is it he wasn't supposed to be involved with that guy?
Well,
Let me ask you, Drew.
It was becoming more than just talking and stuff. It was transgressing to what could have taken away from me and him being in a relationship together. None of this would have started, though, I have to say. Jason kind of got snoopy and started going through my things, my phone, stuff like that, all in these premonitions that initially weren't there at all. And after a while, I guess I kind of started getting annoyed with the fact that he was going through and, questioning.
That he didn't trust you. He was going through and looking through your things, so you decided to put things in there that would make him...
Well, I started doing things. If I was going to get the punishment for it, why not? Actually.
Doesn't sound like a healthy relationship to me. So you're both angry with each other?
This is very early on.
This was early on. But you're here today because you're angry with one another. You want forgiveness? You want to sort of move past this?
Well, we've worked and we've moved past to a point, but anytime something comes up or we fight or something, this particular instance comes up. And one of the things that we've talked about and agreed on many times is the past is the past, we're going to move on, but it still gets brought up. And a lot of that's my fault, because that's the one thing that hurt the most that I reflect back to, and I guess I just want help in forgiving and forgetting that and leaving it in the past.
Dr. Cadell, you have an exercise that you work with couples like this. Do you want to come up here and show us?
Yes.
All right. There's no letter involved. There's no written letter.
But there is some role playing. So if you would stand up. No, I need them to stand up. Yeah, so Drew, you stand right here, and Jason, you stand right there. Okay, what I'm going to ask them to do is to reverse roles.
Okay.
So that they can see how their partner perceives them. So Jason is going to become Drew, and Drew is going to become Jason, and you're going to talk about the conflict that you have with boundary violation. The only rule is that you have to have a positive resolution. So just have a short conversation and reverse roles now.
Oh, this will be fun. So after your gig last night, did you go straight back to Mark's house and go sleep?
Yes, Jason, I did.
Really? Are you sure about that?
Yes, I'm sure. You want to check my phone?
You sure? You sure?
I'm sure.
Totally sure?
Here, call Mark. Let him know. Ask him.
Oh, no. I already went for your phone bill. There's 15 text messages from this 201 number.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
Oh, really?
No.
Why are there
Show
phone
him to
bill
me.
then?
Show him to me.
Yeah. Why are they there? Yeah.
I don't know.
15?
There was nothing. It was just talk.
Oh.
There was nothing.
15 text messages at 6 a.m. Yeah.
Come on, stay in character, more body language. Let me see you become Drew. Come on.
Explain. What are they? What? Come on. Let's go. Read them. Explain.
There's nothing to explain.
Seems like there is. There's 15 text messages here.
You're blowing this out of proportion, Drew. Jason.
Come on, happy resolution. Let's see it. Let's get to a happy resolution here, you guys. What could you do differently? How could you make this win-win?
I could have just...
No, keep going, keep going.
Oh, you want me to keep going with this?
Keep going, Jason. Drew.
Come on. What's up with these 15 text messages, miss?
Look, yes, I was texting somebody.
Well, what happened?
Nothing
6 o'clock
happened.
in the morning?
Nothing happened.
Okay.
It was just talk.
Swear it was just talk.
Yes.
Okay. Good. Very good communication. Very, very good. Okay.
I want to know what we resolved here.
Well, we resolved something very interesting. Nobody walked off. Nobody had a screaming match. They ended with saying, okay, I understand. Did you see anything that it was like, oh my God, I didn't know that I sound like that, or I do that. Oh my God, I'm horrible. Did you get any of that kind of feeling?
Yes.
Okay.
And that trust, if you don't have trust in a relationship, you don't have anything.
Well, I feel like even if I do tell them the truth, it always turns into something anyway, because no matter what it is, it gets blown out of proportion. So I work as a DJ. I'm around a lot of hot guys. I'm not gonna lie, I think I'm a pretty decent looking guy myself. I usually play with my shirt off. So I interact with a lot of people every night. And
you knew that going into this relationship, that's what he does.
That I don't have a problem with. I've never had a problem with that.
So from this little exercise and from you guys talking it out here, do you think you can be a little bit differently, a little bit more considerate with one another going forward? you feel like you see things a little bit differently?
Yes.
Can you ask each other for
She's
forgiveness?
helped a lot with that.
Yeah.
That's great. That is great. I mean, I think it's a huge step in the right direction. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Ava. Great job. Would you be able to forgive a killer? Up next, we're going to meet three sisters struggling to forgive the man who murdered their mother. Their horrific story is after this. Talking about forgiveness today, and this next story deals with the true test of that. More than 20 years ago, three young sisters lost their mother in a very brutal way, and today they are still dealing with the aftermath because the murderer was their stepfather. Here's their story. It was a warm night on June 6, 1988, when shots rang out in a suburban Dallas home. In a jealous rage, Robert Jagg murdered his wife, 40-year-old Linda, by shooting her in the face 6 times. The killing happened right in front of Linda's 3 daughters, Kelly, who was 16 at the time, Amanda, who was 12, and Summer, who was 8. Robert was sentenced to 75 years for murder. After 24 years, the sisters still struggle to come to terms with their tragic history and the man who violently took their mother from them. I mean, how do you recover from that?
That's why we're here today, trying to find out. It'll be a lifelong journey.
And so this man was the father you knew. This was...
For 6 years we lived with him.
And so, I mean, have you tried to sort of make peace with what has happened? I mean...
Yes, we've all been doing healing work for about the past 12 years, and we'll continue to do so for the rest of our lives. So.
And you've started a foundation where you help others.
We did. We launched it this year, Linda's Voice, to help end domestic abuse. We wanted to be... we knew that we wouldn't be able to be on this journey and as healthy as we are without each other. So we wanted to provide a support system for other women that are going through the same situations.
And can you tell us what happened? I mean, what do you remember from that day and what brought him to do something like that?
I know they'd been separated for a week. He was very jealous, very controlling, and it was just one of those, if I can't have you, no one else will. And
he was never physically abusive towards her that we saw, so no one ever knew. And so in a jealous rage, he came over because she was finally saying, "This is enough, I'm leaving." And so he killed her.
And you have visited him in jail?
We did,
last December.
And how was that? I mean, was it wanting to have some questions answered? Was it wanting closure?
He was up for parole, and so we wanted to face the parole board members and tell them the pain that he's caused. And knowing we were going back to Texas to do that, we just thought, this is something we've always wanted to do. Let's take our healing a step further and look the biggest fear in the face. So that's what initiated it.
And what did you get back? Was he, did he apologize? Did he take responsibility?
We didn't get an apology, and I think that's one of the biggest things that we've struggled with is forgiveness, and how do you forgive someone when they're not even asking for forgiveness?
They're not remorseful. There's no remorse to be shown. He did take ownership and say he killed her, but to never get an apology, how do you forgive someone like that?
That is a really good question, Doctor. How does one forgive and move on with their lives?
Well, with somebody like that, it's very difficult because he doesn't want you to forgive him. But you can still forgive him silently so that you don't carry the pain. Give yourself the gift of forgiveness, because if you allow him to manipulate you like that, then he controls your fear forever. So silently forgive him and move on. You'll never forget. You'll never forget. But the fact is, you're helping others go through the forgiveness process.
Is that healing for you all? I mean, you're never going to get what you want from this guy. I mean, you're just not, and nothing's going to bring your mother back. Yeah. But by doing the work that you're doing and helping so many other people, does that bring some sort of closure and peace?
Absolutely, it does for me.
What is your foundation called?
Linda's Voice. Linda's our mom.
And so we can find it on the internet, what, lindasvoice.com or .org? .org.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. And you have each other. I mean, I wonder how have relationships been with other men for you all? Has that?
That's a good question.
I mean, I know it's probably a whole nother hour, but I would imagine you would have issues with, I mean, to have that happen to you at such a young age, that stays with you. How do you trust men?
That was part of why we wanted to face him, was because he was the man responsible for distorting that idea of what a relationship is. And we've done work and are aware that in our minds, marriage means you're going to die because he killed her in our home. So we still live together. So that was, we thought, we all want to change this dynamic and know that we can stay bonded and grow and evolve from this. So if we can face him and ask him questions, and that actually, ironically, is one of the first questions he asked, was if we were married. He wanted to know what our relationship is like.
I would say none of your business. Yeah, that's what I would say. He came up for parole, but he's still in jail.
Every other year he comes up for parole.
But he's so far he has not gotten out.
He's up. Right, we could hear any minute.
He's up. This is his 5th time, so he's currently under review right now. So,
will you be there for the next parole board meeting?
I think so.
Well, thank you for being here. I mean, you're beautiful young women. I really, truly hope that you do find love and trust men. There are good ones out there. Thank you, and all the best with Linda's Voice. Pleasure to meet you. Thank you. Up next, we'll offer advice on what you can do if you ever find yourself on the giving end of an apology. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Today we've been talking about the power of forgiveness. Dr. Cadell, do you need to forgive and forget in order to move on?
You need to forgive, but you don't need to forget. Look, we're all going to make mistakes for the rest of our lives, but without mistakes, there can be no forgiveness, and without forgiveness, there can be no love. So forgive, give yourself the gift of forgiveness, but you'll never forget.
It's easier said than done in a lot of cases. I mean, especially growing
nobody
up.
teaches us how to forgive ourselves.
No one teaches, exactly.
I know, they should start teaching this in
3
school.
minutes. How do we forgive?
Right?
Because we make ourselves sick. It is toxic to hold on to that resentment.
It really is. We're so filled with negative self-talk and lack of love. It's all about loving and accepting ourselves and opening up your heart. I mean, the first person to say, I'm sorry, is so important. I mean, do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? Do you want to be happy?
Okay, that is great advice, because my husband, I'm in this new marriage, and his grandfather, who was married for 50 years with his grandmother, he gave him this advice. He said, she's always right. He's always right. And I swear to God, I've been with a guy for 2 years, and I'll say, no, it's 9 feet. He'll say, no, it's 10 feet. I'll say, it's 9 feet. He's like, you're right. You're right. It ends every conflict. I've never had a conflict with the guy because he just says I'm right all the time.
Oh, you've got the perfect man, Ricki.
I didn't need to go to school for it. All right, well, everyone clearly makes mistakes, as you said. We all make mistakes, and you say we need to learn from those mistakes, and also we need to learn to forgive so that we can love. You say we don't have love. Is that what you said?
That's exactly what I said.
So there's celebrities that commit these mistakes all the time, too, like Kristen Stewart, right? With Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson. I mean, I felt so badly for the girl and him. But the fact that it was so public, and she did make this public apology that I'm going to read and see what you think of it, okay? She says, I'm deeply sorry for the hurt and embarrassment I have caused to those close to me and everyone this has affected. This momentary indiscretion has jeopardized the most important thing in my life, the person I love and respect the most, Rob. I love him. I'm so sorry. So by doing that in that way, what do you make of that?
Well, I think that Kristen Stewart's forgiveness letter is very self-serving. It was much more than a momentary discretion. And, she could have apologized to Rupert and Rupert's wife and the children, and she didn't do any of that. She didn't promise that she wouldn't do it again. and she really didn't ask for forgiveness. So it wasn't a great letter.
But in all fairness, I mean, she's a public person, but it's a private matter, and so for all of us to sort of place judgment on what she should have said publicly or shouldn't said, I mean, it really is.
Well,
none of our
this is true,
business.
but we can learn from celebrities' mistakes. So they should really think before they put something in writing and go national.
Or go out in
with it.
public with someone other than their boyfriend, especially when your boyfriend is like the star of Twilight, right? All right, well, you know, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, someone in this audience issues the ultimate forgiveness. Ooh, can't wait for that. We have learned a lot about forgiveness today, and we have one more person who would like to offer forgiveness. More than 20 years ago, Gretchen was a passenger in a Jeep that flew over a cliff on a mountain road, leaving her paralyzed. Gretchen, thank you for being here. First of all, you could not look more gorgeous. Did you ever receive an apology from the driver?
No, not in my memory, no.
So you would actually want to take this moment to say something to that driver?
You know, I've thought about how guilty I feel for little things in my past, you know, how things eat at you and you feel like remorse, and I can't imagine how self-destructive I would be if I had done something like that, caused an accident that led to somebody's disability, and it just makes me so sad to think that he would be out there feeling that way, because we were young and both reckless. I didn't know him. He was a little bit older than me, but still so young, and I guess I want him to know that I'm okay, and that I feel like things happened for a multitude of reasons, and that I do absolutely forgive him for that.
Wow. Did it take a long time to come to that?
It did. And I went through different stages of a lot of not thinking about him, just putting it out of my mind. But also, you know, just sometimes I would feel like, you know, if I did that to somebody, I would send them money. I would give them a house or something, you know.
So you haven't heard from him?
No. And so sometimes when it's really, you know, it's hard, it's tough, you know, being out in the world with a disability. And I've often thought, like, you know, but then I think maybe it's just so painful for him that he can't even address it, you know, or maybe he feels like no amount would make up for it, so it would just be so trivial that it would be an insult.
It must cause him great pain every single day.
I have no idea. I would think that it would, yeah. I hate to think that.
How is your life now?
I have, it's great. I have a beautiful life. I'm a painter, and I have amazing friends and amazing family. I have a lot of fun, and it's not easy, but I feel like it's my path, and I'm you know, using a wheelchair for a reason, and yeah.
And you're really like a positive example to all of us, the fact that you can forgive, you know, no paper needed to rip up, and really it shows you that life is really short. You know, we need to really appreciate what we have while we are here to have it. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your story. I want to thank all of my guests for being here and sharing their stories, and a very special thank you to Dr. Ava Cadell. Thank you so much. We wish everyone the best on their journey to forgiveness, and thank you at home for watching. See you next time.